to this computer as well. I thought it might be useful. The first session was about self-sabotage, internal assassin. And we talked about that voice in your head. Who's still doing that? Who's remembering to catch themselves when they get that voice that we all get? Who's remembering to do it? Show of hands. Oh, look at that. Rosie's doing it.
It's getting more frequent.
It's starting to become automatic. That's what you want. Okay, because we walk around like zombies. We spend most of our time in a hypnotic trance. So it's catching yourselves doing these things that makes all the difference, right? And it will become automatic, but we're not taught these things. So the second week we talked about focus, and we installed an anchor to help you focus. And if you're new and you've not seen the recording, you can go to the classroom session recordings and you can see that. So who's been remembering to practice that anchor for focus? Look at that. Rosie's doing it. Chris is just looking at her like, what was that about? And I know he was on the same session, so I don't know what happened there, but hey. Joy's getting through all her accounts and getting those done with a smile on her face. She looked miserable the last two sessions. I'm only joking, Joy. Right, so so that's kind of what I want these things to be. I want them to be a reminder as well as you learning something, because my tutor, a guy called Philip, he brought it up and he said sometimes he'll, and I've done this. So sometimes he'll walk around, and he'll say to his wife, oh, I've got a headache. And she'll say, well, have you spun? Which is a technique you might learn today. She'll say, have you spun? And he goes, oh, no, because we get caught up with life. So it's good to have once a week a little shot in the arm of this kind of stuff. Okay, so fear. Oh, by the way, has anybody got questions on any of the previous 2 weeks before I start, just to make sure? No, good. So fear. Who's scared? Who's scared of me? Who wants to open up and unmute and tell me what they're scared of?
I'm scared.
You're scared. What are you scared of, Jolene?
This is Jolene. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's fear from failing or fear from succeeding, but there's a block that's
right.
Got me.
Right. So we'll do the talk about fear after, but let me just see if we can do something here. So, Jolene, are you all right do I have your permission to openly work with you in front of these people?
No, because I'm getting ready to go to the doctors and they don't.
Oh, it's always the anybody else got thank you, Jolene. That's good. And good luck at the doctors.
Fear of the unknown, I guess. That's kind of the same thing with Jolene, success or failure, but the unknown to that.
So you got the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenny, fear of the unknown, you guess, right? You don't even really know what you're scared of.
Like future, success, what that may turn out to be.
So you're mind reading.
Yeah. Or my mind's trying to think of that.
Everybody grab a pen and a paper. Kenny, give me the lottery numbers for this week, because you know the future.
No.
Oh. So it could be amazing.
It could be.
Choose to be scared because you don't know what it's going to be. So you choose to have fear. And when I say choose, I know you're not choosing. I'm just an asshole because I'm a qualified NLP master practitioner. It's kind of what we do. So
yes.
So Kenny, do I have your permission to see if we can ease your fear?
Yes.
So out of 10, 10 being terrible and 0 being what you're talking about, how bad would you say it is out of 10? It's not a phobia, so I'm guessing you're not climbing the walls.
It's probably an 8 because it's kind of a block, like Jolene was mentioning. When I can feel it well up sometimes.
Sometimes. Can you feel it well up now?
Yeah, somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah, I'm thinking about specifically in my business, and the more I think about that and where it's going, I can feel that kind of well up right around in here.
Okay. Now this is very interesting. If you just saw what Kenny did, everybody, I can feel it well up. Back here. Now, NLP practitioners, we're not so concerned about what you think. I don't really care what Kenny thinks that is making him a bit scared, a bit anxious. Okay. I'm more concerned with how he thinks it, because our brains locked inside our skulls don't talk English. They talk sight, sound, pictures, and feelings, like when something wells up and he feels it here. Now, we're all different. If I ask 100 people, yeah, a lot of people, when they're scared, they'll say things like, you know, my shoulders tighten and I feel something in my stomach or in the chest, or some people say it's like a weight. We're all different. So if I ask 100 people, how do you do fear? Right? I will get 100 different answers. And that's where NLP probably isn't like taught in, you know, hospitals and things, because it's not like a set, okay, you have fear, you will feel like this and you will do. So everybody's different. So the good thing about NLP is it's an attitude, and I want to teach you all how you can do these things for yourself. So I want you to think about how you do fear. So all take 30 seconds or something. I want you to think about something that you're scared of. Like Jolene's already said the same, similar to Kenny. You know, she scared of the future. So I want you to, something that scares you. Making a video is a common one I come up against all the time. Putting yourself out there. I want to be a leader. I want to build a big business. Paul, I've lost my password. What do I do? You can't control your own password. How are you going to be a leader? If you can't manage your, you know, you got to put yourself out there on video and do things like that. And, you know, anybody that's kind of had any level of success, I've done stuff out there that's really stupid. So think about something that scares you. Where's Kenny gone? Oh, he's there still. And I want you to get in touch with how you know that you are feeling the fear. So if you could employ me to do it for you, what would the job description be? Is it butterflies in the tummy? Is it a tight chest? Now, Kenny.
Yes, sir.
I want you to, how bad do you feel that fear at the minute? Now you're focusing on
it. It's like a knot, or you know, like I said, it kind of grows the more I think about it.
So what did you say? It's about a 9?
Right now, yeah, 8 or 9, yeah.
I love it. I love putting my students in pain. If you send me $1,000, Kenny, I'll tell you how to cure it. Anyway, moving on. No, come on, let's do it. So you feel it well up.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to your chest. When it gets to your chest, how does it go back down? Does it go down the front or around the back?
If I let it go, it kind of like, it seems like it's dripping down my back, so to speak.
Okay,
You
so
know,
it
just
wells up.
let it out.
I know it's welling up. Your clients give you all the clues when you're an NLP practitioner, right? So I know it goes up and it goes to his chest. These things, they're always moving because it's life. I'll answer the question soon, right? Okay, so these things, it's like life. So I know it's moving. And he says, well, if I let it go, it's like it drips down my back. So Kenny, you show me with your finger which way it's spinning. So it goes up to your chest and then it drips down your back. So it goes
kind
like
of
that.
rolling backwards. And
so that they see he's doing it with his hands. Sometimes I'll get a client and I say, which way is it spinning? And they'll go, well, it's not, it's staying still. And I say, look at your hand. And they go, oh. Right, so Kenny, show me with your hands which way it's going, like you've just done, please.
So it comes up and then it goes.
Okay, now keep that going for me with your hands so I can see it. Now, what happens to the number that's currently a 9, you said? If you speed that up, what happens? Does it get better or worse?
Yeah, it's about a 6 or a 5 when I did that. Wow.
So first impression, Kenny, if that fear that you're feeling in your body was a color, first impression, what color would it be?
Black.
Black. Do me a favor, take one of your hands, whichever hand you prefer. Go and imagine you could put your hand in and you could grab that black and you could pull it out and put it in front of you like that. What happens to the number of fear as you keep pulling and taking it out?
About a 3.
See his eyes go?
Mm-hmm.
I know something's happening. It's about a 3. Keep going, sir. You'll see me do this more than once.
Wow.
What are we down to?
Down to a 1 or 2.
Now, you know it was which way it was spinning. Look at the black stuff in front of you. First impression, has it changed color? Doesn't matter. Has it changed color, yes or no? Doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, I'd say it's white, and I didn't feel it go down. It just kind of went out. It was kind of like breathing out. It was weird.
Okay, so if you look at that stuff that's now lighter in front of you, which way is that spinning now?
It's fixed
It's
and
fixed.
fixed in front of me.
So the fear that used to be a 9 and went down to about a 6 and went down to about a 3, what's it down to right now?
One,
1. Is 1 livable?
absolutely.
Can you see some situations where it's good to have fear, like maybe walking across a busy road,
Hmm.
maybe in a bad neighborhood at night, something like that?
Right,
So
it can
we
help
don't.
you in some respects.
So it's good to have a level of fear, but is 1 manageable and gives you a sense of choice about what you want to do or not?
Yes.
Now, we've changed it, haven't we? So what's in front of you now isn't fear anymore, is it? We're down to a 1.
Hmm.
So grab it for me, slam it back in where it came from. And what's your favorite grocery store to go and buy groceries at, Kenny?
Uh, Walgreens.
And what's your favorite breakfast cereal?
I like Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops. I've
Why
heard
not?
you described as being Fruit Loops, so that explains that.
There you go.
So Kenny, think of an experience, that same thing that made you scared and you felt fear with before. Think of that for me now and tell me what's different.
It's seems like it's out in front of me more.
What about, and if we had to give it a number out of 10, 10 being like really scared,
It's like a 3 or a 4. It wasn't very high. It
is that
just kind of,
manageable?
yes, much better.
Okay, so we're a 3 or a 4. Now think about it for me again and notice which way it's spinning inside your body.
Uh, it was up higher this time in my
Okay,
chest, a little bit higher.
okay.
Uh,
Which
and
way is
it's
it
not,
spinning?
it came up, still came up from below.
Yeah.
I don't really see it spin, but it kind of comes up and sits there.
Okay, so put it back down. Tell me what happens to the fear.
It, I'd say about a 3.
Okay,
It went
now,
down a little
okay, so put it back up and notice which way it naturally wants to go. That way or that way?
forward.
It wants to go forward, so it's doing that. Is that
Hmm.
fair?
Yeah, it's coming out in front of me.
This is where I'm like an optician. Kenny, show me with your hand it's spinning. Make it spin faster, and does that feel better or worse?
It's like it's going where I can view it and make a decision on it. It seems like it's out in front of me now
Okay, now listen.
uh,
Sorry, go ahead.
instead of inside. It's kind of external.
Okay,
Feels more external to me.
okay. So, do you care about other people?
Absolutely.
Do you want them to walk into your fear?
No.
That's probably a good idea if we don't just leave it hanging out in front of us, isn't it?
Right.
So I want you to imagine you could grab that fear that's out of you now,
Hmm.
throw it over your shoulder so it goes up into the sun and burns away so nobody else will ever walk into it again.
Mm.
And if you saw a flying saucer, what would you do?
I would run.
Okay. Now, do me a favor then again, Kenny, please, and um, think about that thing that in the past used to make you feel fear and tell me what's different now.
I don't feel it. It's kind of it's not there.
My work here is done. Do you want me to put it back? No?
No, absolutely not.
Pick somebody on the panel here that you'd like me to give your fear to. No, I'm only joking.
Wouldn't do
So,
that.
so how was that, Kenny, as an experience?
That was awesome. Yes, very helpful.
Okay. So who could do that for themselves? Who's got something they feel fear about and would like to maybe do it as a group exercise or me do it with you one-on-one? Does anybody else want me to give you the Kenny treatment? You're too scared. I get it. Right. So let's just talk about what we've done then and how you can manage it yourself. So first thing, you hear a lot in NLP terms, you hear about reframes. And a reframe just means you look at something in a different way. Now, personally, reframes can be useful. But if I said to Kenny, if he's scared of whatever it was he was scared of, and I said like the future and stuff, and I said, Kenny, it's just failure expected and received. Does that work for you, Kenny?
No,
If
not
I
really.
said it's false evidence appearing real, does that work for you? Do you go, oh yeah, you're right. I'm not scared of the
It's
gunman
kind of
anymore.
neat motivation, but it doesn't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
address the issue.
I got 15 of them if you want them. They're good, and they're good for kind of putting the word out, and like Kenny said, they're good like motivators and things like that. But in actual fact, they don't really do anything. So what you need to get in touch with is how you do fear. And somebody's put in the chat about anger. So Lyndon's put anger. Lyndon, Lyndon, can you talk, Lyndon? We could do the same exercise with you if you want, and I'll demonstrate, but it's the same thing, right? Now, remember what I said. What I said, our brains don't really understand. Right, I've used energy spinning, then turned the negative emotion into a circle of excellence, which is brilliant. Only takes a few minutes, but very powerful. Absolutely. Circle of excellence is in the book. Maybe I'll do it on one of these sessions. But I often find, right, so circle of excellence is great because it's all about, hey, anytime I want confidence and stuff, it's a bit like an anchor, basically. Anytime I want confidence or focus or motivation, I find with a lot of people that I work with, actually what we need to do is strip away the fear or the procrastination or the thing that stops you being motivated. And that's what we just did with Kenny. So, brain doesn't understand words. Do not, you all know what that means. Do not think of a blue elephant with wings flying over the Eiffel Tower in France. You'll get bored of me saying that. The only way of you to make sense of that sentence is to make a picture of a blue elephant with wings flying over the Eiffel Tower in France in the moonlight. And the way, the example I always give is if I grew up in Italy and I'd only ever listened to Italian radio, listened to Italian speakers, seen Italian TV and movies, and walked around Italian streets and read Italian books and magazines, what language do you think I'd be trying to communicate with you all in now? French, right? No, Italian. When were these people learn? Yeah, Italian, right? Now, if you think about our brain locked inside our skulls, what is the language that it gets? What input does our brain get? Sight, sound, smell, taste, and feeling. And feeling is that's smooth, that's cold, that's hot, as well as I feel scared, I feel happy, I feel amazed, I feel joyous, whatever, whatever. So our brain, actually, the language our brain speaks is that metaphors and sights and images and things. It's not the words. Okay. So what we did with Kenny there, and you can all do, is start to get in touch with how do I feel anger, emotion, fear, joy, happiness? How am I doing it? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? Now, with these sort of things with fear, this energy spinning is what the technique is called. I dare say other people have different names for it, right? You do not have to do it with your hand. But when I demonstrate it to clients and people, that really helps them understand. It's also kinesthetic. So Kenny, let's imagine you're invited to a company event in the future because you're so successful and you have to stand on stage and speak in front of like 2,000 people, 4,000 people, I think mine was. And when you get on stage, you can't hear yourself because as soon as you talk, there's the monitors firing back at you. How's that make you feel?
A little uneasy.
A little uneasy, right? Okay. So what would you do now?
Uh, I would be able to make the choice to move on.
And where would you feel that uneasiness?
It was more. I moved it out in front of me to make that choice.
That's what's working for Kenny is moving it out in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to use your hands, so you can be on stage and you can just go, right, I'm moving you out. Now, some people don't move it out. I like moving it out. Okay. And what our brain does when we move it out, you remember I said to Kenny, what color is it first impression? The color does not matter one jot. The color does not matter one iota, right? And what the brain is very good at doing is if I was to take this calculator, it's actually quite complicated, isn't it? If I open this up, there'll be some mechanism that makes the buttons work, and there'll be a circuit board, and there'll be like all these traces on the circuit board, and there's probably at least one microchip in there, and probably a resistor, and then you've got the else. That's quite a complicated bit of kit, really, isn't it? But we're just like, oh, it's a calculator. And what the brain is very good at doing when we use metaphors, whether it be a color, and I had somebody the other day with pain, and we used a rock. The rock represented the pain. What the brain is really good at doing is using the metaphors and saying, okay, well, all of that complicated stuff that's making Kenny or any of you or me feel scared, all of this stuff is quite complex. But we can make it a color, and it's a lot easier to deal with a color. Or we can feel the feeling in our body. It's a lot easier to deal with that than it is the whole thing. And the brain is amazing at that. So any emotion you feel, like anger, fear, anything you don't want, turn it into a color, move it out, or just notice which way it's spinning and change the spin, or do both. That's all you need to do, is get in touch with it and change it and notice the difference. One of the great things about NLP is, like, I can be with a client and I'm following the procedure exactly as I was taught it. And I've learned, I've been on like 3 different practitioner courses now. But with Kenny there, I didn't need to follow it exactly because it worked. So do I care? I didn't follow the procedure properly. Kenny's got a skill for life now, haven't you, sir?
Yeah, it gives you or it gave me a lot more control, it seems like, over that feeling.
So a lot of people, they don't move it out, they just spin it inside. And let me give you the tip then, because I didn't really have to do it with Kenny. If you notice which way it's spinning, hint, it's always spinning. If you notice which way it's spinning, I'm not a fan of telling you to spin it the opposite way straight away. I would normally get clients to slow it down from experience, just from doing it a lot. But if you notice what happens if you speed it up, sometimes it makes it better, sometimes it makes it worse. And that's where I said I'm like an optician, better or worse. And if you spin it faster and it makes it worse, guess what happens if you slow it down? Makes it better. If you speed it up and it makes it better, fantastic, go with it. Make the spin wider. So some people go, it's like this. And I go, what happens if you make it wider like that? And they go, wow. Some people go, oh, that's worse. So I say, well, put it back. And now what happens if you make it smaller? And of course, that makes it better. That's how easy it is to deal with this stuff that we've put up with for over 2,000 years. Any questions on that? And I've got another technique for you. Lyndon's put, or just make the energy float up and down. If that works, that's good. But change the speed, and whatever works is what works. There's no ego with NLP, guys. Whatever works is the best technique. Okay. But I would have thought if you just move it up and down, for most people, from my experience, it's still the fear and you're just moving it up and down. But if you're changing it is the point. And Lyndon's put as well, push it out like 500 meters. Exactly. But he's put then bring it back. I won't bring it back. I'd leave it there. I'd make it burn in the sun. I just don't want anyone else to walk into it because it's not fair on them. Right. So who else is scared of something? Who else can feel scared about something? A situation coming up, or somebody they don't like they've got to deal with, or anything like that, and wants a very, very easy technique. See, I've cured you all. Nobody's got anything. Go ahead, Laura.
How about, and I know we kind of went through this the first 2 lessons, procrastination and all that stuff. But what about the fear of getting things done? Because I just feel like there's like so much going on, with the, learning this. Also, if we want to be the distributors for this program, learning that stuff, learning how to market all this stuff, and then other stuff on top of that stuff. Sometimes I just feel like I get scared that I'm not going to get it done, even though I've went through those classes and not, to focus better and all that. I still kind of have that fear, like,
Okay.
it's all great, but it's just like I have like 1,000,010 things to do, it seems like.
Fantastic. As do I. And so I did a 16, 17-hour day yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Fall asleep in the middle of this, you know why. Anyway, so I won't, don't worry. So can you feel that for me now, Laura?
Yes.
Okay. And out of 10, how bad is it? 10 being terrible.
10.
Oh, wow. I love this. I love my clients to be in pain and suffering. So, so I want you to try this for me. I just said, didn't I? How do our brains take information in? Well, if you think about it, everything's in our head, isn't it? So our focus is up here, isn't it? So I want you to think about the overwhelm and the fear that that's giving you, and that's being scared of getting everything done for me, Laura. And I want you to I want you to make your focus go from your head, and I want you to move it down, move it down, move it down, and I want you to put it in your tummy, around your belly button. So take all that focus from your head down to your belly button, and tell me what happens as you notice the changes. What happens as you move your attention from your brain down to your tummy? What happens to that fear?
Well, I feel like my breathing and my heartbeat goes down a little bit. And when I was telling you about this, I started perspiring, you know what I mean? Just because I'm just like, oh my God. But when I do that, I feel like my perspiration is like not as bad.
Are you a naturally sweaty person, Laura? I mean, no, you don't need to answer that. That's overstepping the bounds. But so you feel like your perspiration's not as bad, and you feel like your breathing and your heart rate's calmed.
Mm-hmm.
So what about that intensity of the feeling of being scared about getting everything done as you keep your focus from your head, move it down to your belly button?
It goes down, the pain.
Goes down.
Mm-hmm.
What are we down to then? If it was a 10,
Like a 4.
a 4. From a 10 to a 4 on a
Mm-hmm.
session in front of other people we're watching, do we class that as the win?
Mm-hmm.
What about if you move that sensation out of you, out your body, and put it in front of you?
I'm getting nervous again.
Bring it back then, because you're in
Okay.
control, not me. Put it back.
Mm-hmm.
What about if you move it behind you?
That feels better. Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to put it back to a 10?
No.
Oh, should we leave it there?
Mm-hmm.
So that technique there, the Japanese call it hara. John will know this. John's a martial arts guy. But it's a martial arts technique. The Chinese call it chi, right? But apparently what you do, and there's a great, if anybody in the UK, you know Paul McKenna, I don't think you know him in the US, but you can go on YouTube, you can find examples of him doing that technique. And I actually saw him do it live with somebody who was scared of public speaking. I spent a weekend with Richard Bandler and Paul McKenna. And that was one of the things that Paul McKenna taught. And he got somebody who was scared of public speaking. So he gave her a mic. And then he got to go up on the front on stage, and he goes, "What's your name?" And she goes, "Julie," and all, And then he did that technique with her, and he went to the back of the room. "What's your name?" "Julie." "What do you do?" "I'm at college." "What you learn? What you studying?" "Law." "I thought you were scared of being on stage." And she goes, "Oh shit, yeah, I've been rumbled." So, so that's it's called the 1-point technique. Okay, that's what I know it as, the 1-point technique. And it's just simply taking your focus from your head, where everything's going on. Your ears are up there, your eyes are up there, your nose is up there. It's where all your feelings ultimately come from. That's where your brain releases the chemicals to make things happen, right? That's where all your sensations are processed. Okay, so that's where everything kind of goes in. And you take that, move it down to the 1-point technique, put it down to your belly button. And the other thing that's really good is, if we were live, I'd pick one of you and I'd try and push you over. So I'd get you to stand up, and I'd push you and you'd move. And when I got you to do that exercise, you'd be strong and you'd be very hard to shove over. So if you're married couples that don't like each other, give it a go. If you do like each other, do it near the bed, just in case.
No.
If you don't like each other, you've got gravel driveways, I find are good for practicing on. Right. So that's about 30 minutes, guys, on fear. Let me just see. Just one thing else I'd say. A roller coaster. Who likes going on roller coasters? Who gets excited? Can't wait. Jump on a roller coaster. So Jolene, James, Laura. Who's terrified and would never go on one? Who hates things like that? Adrenaline stuff. Oh, wow. So you're all like, well, some people put their hands up saying yes. And then people, when I'm saying, so who's scared? Nobody's scared then. I did see Joy shake her head. So I'm guessing that's a bit of a clue, right? Is the roller coaster just a roller coaster?
I'm not scared. They just make me sick.
Oh, God. So I feel sorry for the people in the cars around you, especially when you go upside down. That's not good. So I'd be scared of getting on a roller coaster with Tommy now. So, so I had to go on the UK's rather, not the world's largest, the UK's largest roller coaster as part of a work outing, and I'm not very good on roller coasters, and it's before I knew NLP, and I didn't like it. Now, no problem. Been on it again, not a problem. Walking over the Blackpool Tower. It's a really tall tower. For those of you that don't know, it's a bit like the Eiffel Tower, and they have a glass panel that you have to walk over. I don't like heights, but I can walk over that now because of NLP, and it's using these techniques. But back to the roller coaster. If you ask 100 people, you probably get like 50 people say, I can't wait, let me on it. And 50 people go, oh, no, not for me, too scary. But is the roller coaster different for those people? The roller coaster's fixed, isn't it? The roller coaster is the roller coaster. So the people that are scared and the people that love it, the only difference is them, isn't it?
Adrenaline.
Now, hopefully, I've given you two techniques there. 1 point technique and energy spinning technique. Notice where it is in your body. Notice where it's spinning. Move it, change the spin, make it a color, take it out your body, and then you can still mess with the spin if it's spinning. Hopefully they'll give you an example today with Kenny, and thank you, Kenny. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Laura, as well. But hopefully I've demonstrated there two ways of how easy it can be to deal with fear.